The day at school, Paddy's Mini swung low, crossing the black iron of the school gates as awkward curtains of leaves scratched feebly at his windscreen, like claws of ladies lying in withered tombs. Behind, green spires and the red bricks propped up by Gothic arcades enclosed the central yard. Two other cars were parked in dotted boxes as Paddy parked beside. In hot sunshine, he climbed the steps to the main doors one by one, but for age, a bound would take him up. The entrance hall was cool, wood like silver, encased trophies shined from the walls in sunlight pouring in. Last time he came, the school had hived with children. At certain times of the day, they spilled out a great river from tributary classes and ran. Nothing could wade upriver, but was carried back, slung against the walls to wait for it to die. In lessons only trickling by quietly. Today, not even a trickle, not a drop. It was high summer. The river of youth had dried. On the fourth week of summer, it was 2 before September starts. The phone had rung. Headmaster was calling. Could he attend the following morning? To clear certain affairs before the term. Paddy McWeevil was head of languages. He felt bound to go. It would some trivia be. Then home he would go to enjoy what was left of sunshine pleasures. Locked was the brassy handle when he tried it after knocking in vain. Unlike all the classrooms, the headmaster's study had no windows, opening right into the corridors. This Paddy knew, but nevertheless looked into the window adjacent to this. All he saw to testify to recent use was an unwiped blackboard of Latin verbs. All were, before the holidays, reminded to clean the blackboards and tidy the class, and this included putting up the chairs. The chairs were on the desks, but most unusual, Paddy thought, for the only Latin taught was by himself 10 years ago at least. A frightened man, he left and closed the door. Then he heard the clank of metal somewhere, as though a bolt was drawn across a door. The grinding lingered, resonating in the involuted silence. Towards the source Paddy began. When it came behind, causing him to grind his leather sole on the sandstone floor as the tide that sways the sand when moon breaks hard on soft black velvet seas that days retard. He tiptoed round the corner, down the passage, marking an object stretched on the floor, down low. But then the clank, it came again from below. Another bar that closed his prison door. Trotting along it was not long before he broke into a run, and on the floor skidded as though on ice, sliding too fast, passing classrooms like trains until the last, where there stood a man in a pinstripe suit and glasses that were rosy pink. As foot slammed hard into the stone, pavilions shot from under heel as sparks from fateful trains. "Oh, headmaster, I thought I was going to be late," said Paddy. "That's all right, Mr. McWeeble," he replied, in almost condescending tones for a headmaster. He was looking rather gaunt, and Paddy was just about to ask if anything was wrong when he shouted to someone over Paddy's shoulder, "Mr. Kent, he's over here." "I know," said a quiet voice. Kent was the mathematics teacher, and he did wear a similar grey suit. But there the resemblance ended. The real Mr. Kent had straight white hair and sagging jowls. He was known as Frog Eye from when he was a petty officer in the Navy. This younger man had neither sagging jowls nor eyes like a frog. This face was rather rubicund, and his hair was grey and very wavy. Fearfully, Paddy turned back to the headmaster to find similar facial discrepancies. The real headmaster did sometimes don tinted spectacles and always wore a pinstripe suit, but his owlish looks and teak-stippled hair could not be matched by these hollow cheeks and, when he removed his spectacles, the black, piggy eyes. As Paddy was seized by the arms from behind, the bogus headmaster smiled crookedly. "I'm Lily. You taught me, or should I say, beat me. Latin, many years ago. But now I'm going to teach you. You're a very small man now. As he was led down the corridor, he realised escape was futile. He would have to try to reason with them. They entered the classroom where the Latin verbs were written on the board. "You haven't forgotten them then," said Paddy, making a supreme effort to smile as he nodded towards the blackboard. A hand pushed Paddy over a chair that was standing on a desk, and the legs stabbed at him as he tumbled clumsily over the desk before landing hard with the chair on top of him. Paddy saw the crooked smile and piggy eyes leering at him through a lattice of chair legs. "That's where I used to sit. You stood over here. I sanded that desk down when you saw me scratch that horrible name Lily on it. The whole class was laughing at me." The face leaned forward and began to shout and bellow. "Stand up when I'm talking to you, boy." Clawing his way through the chairs and desks, Paddy stood up, staring back blankly and swaying with dizziness. Kent was at the door, keeping an eye on the corridor. "You carved your name on that desk just now. No use lying. You did, and I saw it, didn't you?" "No," said Paddy. "It's no, sir," the pinstripes yelled. "No, sir," mumbled Paddy. "You did, McWeevil. I saw you. Admit it." "I did it, sir. I admit it, sir." "You can sand it all down for that. But I don't have any sandpaper." "Don't argue with me. Use your fingers." Paddy began to claw at the desk. At every sign of slackening, the man in pinstripes would shout, "Harder!" or "Faster!" Once, he leaned over and slapped Paddy's face. He was not content until he saw Paddy's fingers drawing trammels in blood. The other man stepped forward, saying, "I'm taking him to the class along the corridor, if that's all right by you, headmaster." "You can have him, Mr. Kent. I've got another class next door," said the sham headmaster. In the corridor, the grey-suited man stopped, pointing at something through a classroom window. "Remember him?" he said to Paddy. "That's Mengler. He used to teach music here years ago." Paddy lifted up his head to see a wheelchair among the desks of the classroom. Beside it, seated at a desk, an old man with bulging eyes and a high bald head was dribbling saliva from the corner of his mouth to his turquoise corduroy trousers. As he sat, clinging to the back of a chair, swaying like a mental child, Paddy felt sympathetic revulsion. "I'll let you go if you promise not to run," said the man, holding McWeevil Paddy agreed as best he could, for he was sure he had cracked a rib. "It's this one," said the man, pointing to another classroom. Inside, Paddy dived for a chair and sat back in pain. "You all right?" said the man, leaning forward slightly. His fat face was now red and shiny. Paddy grunted. "You see, I'm not bad. He's the bad one. He forced me to do this. He killed her." "He pushed her over a desk," said the man, as Paddy glared at the body of an old woman lying on the floor behind him. Her upturned face impressed itself on Paddy's mind like a leaf on his windscreen. "Thank God her eyes are shut," he thought impulsively. "Who are you?" said McWeeble. "Where's the real headmaster?" "The real one? He probably doesn't know about it. But he telephoned me. Or was it him?" said Paddy, as he realised how he'd been duped. "It was him back there who telephoned you. I'll tell you something about him, should I?" he said, eyes widening further. "He's a psycho. Escaped from an asylum. He even got the porter to open the building up again." "Again?" "He's done it before, pretending to be a teacher." "Excellent," said an authoritative voice from the door. It was he in question. He advanced slowly towards the grey-suited man, picking up a chair on the way. Eventually, the pinstripes had his companion in the corner. "Well, Mr. Kent, looks like you're finished," he said, picking up a chair. Paddy picked his own chair and brought it down on his head. Everything dissolved in an explosion of splinters. When the dust had cleared, Paddy saw the pinstriped man laid out on the floorboards, covered with dust and splinters. Paddy looked wearily but triumphantly at the figure in the corner, whose face had now assumed a stern sneer. "That's it then," wheezed Paddy McWeeble. "That's what, Mr. McWeeble? Pick those bits of chair up this minute."